Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all my Regenesis Yugioh deck profile for post-Duelist Advance. We got a few new cards for the Regenesis deck in the latest Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set. I actually never gave a deck profile originally for the Regenesis deck, just never was able to gather up a good majority of the cards, but got a good amount of them for an actual, deck profile this time around. Only missing some cards for the deck, but figured I'd show what I'm missing for those spots with some other available cards that I have, and show you what I'd mix in with the deck as well, because it definitely still feels like a deck suit where you have to mix in an engine to at least achieve some strength in the deck, and then focus on those plays along with some of your other cards that you run in the deck as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. For the Regenesis monsters, we've run 3 copies of Regenesis Archfiend. You can special summon this card from your hand by revealing another monster with 2500 attack or defense in your hand. You can only special summon Regenesis Archfiend once per turn this way, and with this card you can only use each of the following effects of Archfiend once per turn. If this card's normal or special summon, you can add 1 Regenesis card from your deck or banishment to your hand except for Regenesis Archfiend, and during your opponent's end phase, if this card's in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add to your hand. So the add back power definitely does come in handy, and for the fact that all the other Regenesis main deck monsters that we run share 2500 attack, makes it also want to mix in with some of the other options for 2500 attack into the deck, being able to just reveal another monster to have that special summon and then give you a search for a Regenesis card from your deck or banishment to your hand, making this a definite 3 of, so then you can focus on lower numbers for the other Regenesis monsters, including our next one, Regenesis Sage, which we're running 2 copies of. If a monster with 2500 original attack or defense is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Regenesis Sage once per turn this way. You can only use each of the following effects of Regenesis Sage once per turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can send one other Regenesis card from your hand or face on the field to the graveyard, negate the activation, and destroy that card. And during your opponent's end phase, if this card's in the graveyard because it was sent to this turn, you can add back to your hand. The add back power is a big thing as well, just being able to add back your Regenesis cards to reuse. But once again, focusing with having a 2500 original attack monster or defense on the field gives you more special summon power to then use with your other Regenesis monsters also. We're also running 1 copy of Regenesis Lord, the 1 copy of Regenesis Dragon, and the 1 copy of Regenesis Warrior, with the additional having of those monsters with 2500 attack or defense on the field, being able to special summon these cards as well, and then being able to have a once per turn if a card is special summon, being able to set a Regenesis spell or trap with Lord on the field, and it gains 2500 attack during the battle phase only. If it attacks a defense monster, inflict piercing battle damage, then having the option being able to target a spell or trap your opponent controls and banish it by attributing this card with Dragon, and then being able to target a monster our opponent controls and return it to the hand with Warrior. Each one having different bounce and search effects, but more or less one of options since they can all be added off of Regenesis Archfiend. Now, the engine I wanted to go for to work with the 2500 attack or defense play that the Regenesis monsters needed, I decided to go with the Bysteel engine, just because they all share 2500 attack and easy to get out with some of the options of being able to use your opponent's cards as well. So 3 copies of the Bysteel Lubellion. It cannot be normal summon or set, must be special summon from your hand or graveyard by attributing 1 level 6 or higher Dark Dragon monster. You can only special summon the Bysteel Lubellion once per turn this way, and you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard to add 1 Bysteel monster from your deck to your hand except for Lubellion, and during the main phase being able to place a branded continuous spell or trap from your deck face up on the field. You can only use each effect of Lubellion once per turn, but then you can use Lubellion to search out and set up our face up branded card, which is Branded Regain, for the added search power of monsters, for the recycle power for draw when they're banished, and then the added search to grab our other Bysteel monsters, which are 2 copies of Bysteel Sireneer, the 1 Bysteel Druisworm, and then the 1 Magnemite. Also all sharing 2500 attack, so having these monsters on the field can also get you into your Bysteel engine to then be able to summon onto the field along with your Regenesis monsters. And then the rest of the main deck monsters just being the hand trap lineup, so the 2 Droll and Lockbird, the 3 Fuelos, and the 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. You just have search power with a good majority of all the other cards, so this can be saved for the final spots of the deck with the hand trap engine to then be able to react against your opponent cards if you went second against them, or have a setup when you end your turn. For the spells, running 3 copies of Regenesis. You take 1 Regenesis monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard, or if you control a Regenesis monster, you can add 1 monster with 2500 attack or defense from your deck to your hand instead. And if this card's in your graveyard graveyard except the turn was sent there. You can banish it to target a Regenesis monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So not only can you grab your other engine that you're running in the deck, being the Bysteel, you already have the Regenesis monster on the field. It also has more of a special summon option for those Regenesis cards by being able to to banish the Regenesis spell from our graveyard to do so. We're also running 2 copies of Regenesis Cycle. If you control a monster with 2500 original attack or defense, target 1 card your opponent controls, or you can target 2 if you control Regenesis Lord, banish that card, and if this card's in the graveyard except the turn was sent there, you can banish it to special summon 1 monster with 2500 attack or defense from your hand. Once again, all the Regenesis cards work with the additional setup of our 2500 attack point Bysteel monsters that we run in the deck as well, meaning we just have more and more consistent setup to use each one of these effects depending on the monster we want to summon out. We're also running the 1 copy of Regenesis Code. This would honestly potentially be more copies in the deck. If you want to, you can, move around some of the other additional spells like the Triple Tactics Talent and the Foolish Burial for added options for Regenesis Code instead of these cards. The 1 Prosperity for more search power, along with the 1 Call by the Grave and the 1 Branded Regain being the card needed for the setup with our Lubellion face up on the field to then target one of those monsters if a Liar Dark is banished to then place on the bottom of the deck and draw 1 card, giving us more of a recycle for our engine to use as well. For the traps, running 2 copies of Regenesis Command. You apply these effects to all cards your opponent controls in the same column as your Regenesis monsters. Face up, negate their effects. Face down, monsters cannot change their battle position. Face down, spell or traps cannot be activated until the end of next turn. You can activate 1 Regenesis commands per turn, but one of the new cards from Duelist Advance, just being able to make use of the effects to your cards your opponent control in the same column. So with this card, you just have a negate the effect of a face-up card. With the face-down monster, they cannot change their battle position, so they're stuck in that position. And then face-down spell traps cannot activate until the end of the next turn. So with the same column as your Regenesis monsters, depending on where you set them up and then activate this card, you can really take down a good number of your opponent's cards, knowing where you place them in those spell and trap card zones. We're also running 1 copy of Regenesis Birth. The lower numbers also because they can be searched out with some of our other Regenesis monsters that we run. Being able to send a Regenesis monster from your deck to the graveyard to target a face-up monster your opponent controls and change it to face-down defense, which then can work for locking down that monster with cards like Regenesis Command. And then special summon as many possible cards. You can send this card to the graveyard to special summon as many Regenesis monsters as possible with different names from your hand, graveyard, and or banishment, but send them during the graveyard during the end phase, which then they can just be added back off of their own card effects afterwards. And then lastly, additional hand trap spot being the Infinite Impermanence to use along with our other monster hand traps that we run in the deck. And for the extra deck, we run a pretty generic lineup of extra deck monsters, just for the fact that we have the different level Regenesis monsters, making it so there's not really a specific to be able to go into, but the 1 SP Little Knight, the 1 IP Masquerena, the 1 Akashic Magician, along with the 1 Pentastag, the 1 Heretic Seal to use with the Bysteel monsters, the 1 Dark the Dark Charmer, along with the 1 Nightmare Cerberus, the 1 Nightmare Unicorn, the 1 Boral Sword Dragon, and the 1 Axis Code, and the 1 Underworld Goddess to finish off the Link monsters, with the Xyz monsters going more for the Bysteel lineup, so the 1 Evilzar Lars, the 1 number 24, the 1 M7, and then the 1 Sky Crisis to finish off the Xyz monsters and the additional extra deck monsters. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, as I said before, with the 3 of copy count we're running for Regenesis Archfiend, being able to special summon this card by revealing another 2500 attack by monster in our hands. So if we have one of our Bysteel engine, Lubellion being all the better, we can use that reveal for this card to then have the setup and special summon of our Regenesis Archfiend. And then if this card's normal special summon, being able to add a Regenesis card from our deck or banishment to our hand, except for Archfiend, so then we can grab an additional Regenesis monster, have the option for the special summon, since we already have a 2500 monster in the form of Archfiend on the field, to then summon out this card, and then being able to use the added play of our Lubellion to then send this card from the hand of the graveyard to add 1 Bysteel monster from our deck to our hand. So then we can add our 1 of target count being our Magnamut to then have the targeted banish with our Lubellion in the graveyard as well for this play to then be able to summon out. But the tribute play also comes in handy for the setup. So if you want to use our 2 current monsters we have, you can go for the Link 2 play using those 2 monsters, getting out the Link monster of choice that you want for the Link 2 play using those 2 monsters. Then you can use the added setup of Magnamut for the banish of your Regenesis monster, whether it be Lord or Archfiend. But remember, you'll be missing out on the add back power of these cards, so remember that play as well. For that summon, you have the Tribute of a level 6 higher Dark Dragon monster for the use of Lubellion to be able to summon back out from the graveyard, and then being able to use it to set up our branded continuous power trap. Then the recycle power on that play as well. It all comes down to what monsters you want on the field to use at that time. But remember, if you use the banish for your Regenesis monsters, you won't be able to add them back at the end phase with this card being able to use for the add back power for that monster. You don't have the add back power with Lord, but you have it in the form of your other monsters. Lord is just one of those bigger boss monsters to be able to get out from it. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, just a fun deck that focuses on a variety of engines. I've seen some people use Kashtira. Wanted to stick with more of the Bysteel lineup for what we have available to use with the deck, since they all share the 2500 attack point engine. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira, Twig out.